All right. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. If I can ask before we do begin, if you guys do have your mics on, please go ahead and mute them until the Q&A at the end. But thank you guys once again so much for joining us. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Jack Olzak. I'm the VP of Sales and Marketing over here at Printed Word University, home of the Printed Word Reviews and Book Camp. For those that don't know that much about us, the Printed Word Reviews is a magazine for the book world. We have over 50,000 readers, including more than 10,000 booksellers and librarians, independent publishers around the globe. Between our award programs and our magazines, the Independent Press Awards, the New York City Big Book Award, and the Children's Book Worm Award. Everything we do comes back to our one mission, and that's helping authors get discovered and helping them build a real business around their books. And that's exactly what today's masterclass is about. Here is the challenge that every author runs into. You write the book, but how do you build the audience that's truly yours? One that you own instead of renting from another algorithm. That's what we're going to be digging into today. Our guest has built his entire career around helping small businesses and creators to move forward. Jimmy Newsome is the founder and CEO of Moving Forward Small Business. Many of you know him as the impact influencer. He has been featured in Forbes and Entrepreneur. He runs a monthly frameworks trainings that have saved founders dozens of hours a week. He's the mind behind the Tracked Transparent ecosystem. Today, he is going to be showing you how to build that reader community you actually own. So Jimmy, thank you so much for being here. The floor is absolutely yours, and we are all excited to hear from you.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that, Jack. Thank you, sir. And everybody, hold on, because we're about to get down. This is being recorded, and will give you access to my deck. So the entire deck you're going to see today, I'm going to give you a few documents that you'll have access to. So I've already created a replay page, which will have a lot of this stuff on here. So you can just more or less just kind of take a lot of this in. And also at the same time, I do want to make this very interactive, whether you're typing in the chat. If you have a question, definitely raise your hand. I'll call on you. There'll definitely be time at the end. I'll stay on at the end so we can get more questions. To me, vibe coding, which we'll go deeper into, has been probably one of the biggest single massive changes in our organization moving forward, small business. To the point where we're now negotiating deals and contracts with nonprofits, government organizations, Fortune 500 companies, all from vibe coded products that now have kind of raised the value of moving forward small business. I am an open book, so I will share anything that needs to be shared. So if you have questions, as long as it doesn't fall under an NDA, I will answer it. All right. But this is exciting. I'm going to get ready to share my screen, and we're going to get right into it. So first thing I want to do is, before we go any further, I'm going to drop in the chat so you have it, the replay page that does not yet have the video, but it has all of the resources that I'm going to mention today on it. All right, so I'm going to put that in the chat now. I'll put it in at the end as well. But now you can just tune in to my voice, and I will also be monitoring the chat. And again, if you do have a question, please raise your hand and I will call on you to unmute yourself. Here we go. So our focus is beyond the page: how to build your own AI-powered software tool to grow your book business. Now, this can be for your book, but it can also be for almost anything else in your business. So our focus today is around the book, and to build that custom framework for your organization. And on the front end, it may look like a simple website or a simple app, but the back end is what really makes this extremely unique to you, your organization, and whatnot. So let's start with the author's dilemma. The reality is, transforming a completed book into a scalable business is an entirely different operational challenge. You know, you worked so hard to to produce your first book or your recurring book, if you're not taking advantage of technology, that's a lost opportunity for you. The common pitfalls can include forcing your unique methodology into a rigid generic software template, so you're using someone's third-party platform. And then you're also Jack mentioned about rented media. So we're renting other people's platforms, whether it's your social media platforms or the software that you're investing your time and energy into. And you always have in the back of your mind, I wish this could do this. I wish it could do that. And here's an opportunity for you now to build that. So when we think about building very unique software, specifically through vibe coding, it allows us to get out of what we call manual data entry hell. There's opportunities for you to build very custom workflows with inside your platform to allow you to take the most mundane task and turn it into something so simple you can turn 20 hours of work into 25 minutes. And I'll give you a lot of examples on how I've done that. And then again, you're also working with software that almost works. That means that it works good enough, so you stick with it, but you still wish you could do stuff. And then if you were to think about trying to create your own software, you're definitely looking at a minimum of 50,000. I'd say to 100, but I'd say even more than that, depending on how aspirational your dreams are. And I'll tell you, mine are really big. And so I'm assuming a lot of you on this call are as well. So let's talk about what vibe coding is. Vibe coding is building software with conversational language with no technical background required. Now, that doesn't mean that if you shouldn't have any technical background. People are saying, and you may have heard this, that AI is making people, and I hate to use this word, stupid or dumb, because it's doing all the work. To me, I think it's the opposite. As you work alongside AI, you should take the time to learn about what it's doing, how it's factoring things, how the bigger role that you play in the relationship between you and the AI, where the AI becomes the brainstorming partner and support system for you and your dreams. I've definitely gotten better at understanding code because of vibe coding, because of leveraging the tool and understanding that AI as a tool is still not the end goal. If you've ever have you ever found yourself cursing at your AI platform, your LinkedIn, that it can do a lot, but it can't do everything. The human always has to stay inside the loop. So when you're leveraging vibe coding, you're having actual just straight up conversations with it. And then it's taking that and it's doing a lot of the heavy lifting to build, but it will only build based on how you're talking to it. And the second thing is it won't build everything. And this is where, when you see a lot of platforms like Base 44, which is the platform I use, Lovable, Cursor, you're going to definitely, as you start to develop and start to improve your tool, the process will get harder. But that doesn't mean it's not doable. It's just a different type of harder. So I leverage Base 44 specifically, and I actually went through a journey and landed on the Base 44 platform as my tool of choice for a number of reasons. One, it provides a full end-to-end front end and back end system. The front end is what everyone will see. The back end is where the magic truly happens. Okay, so what I want to do is talk about a few additional things that can happen before we get actually into seeing some of the tools and the true capabilities of what vibe coding is about. One is true IP ownership. When you're able to build a really great tool, you've really increased the entire value of your entire organization. You're building true IPs that can be trademarked and copywritten. So you're building digital infrastructure.
Copyrighted.
The difference is, at the end of the day, I built some tools, and these tools are now worth more than some of the stuff I've been working on for years. And it's because I call it the digital brain. And what I mean by the digital brain is I can now take a lot of what I'm doing in here and put it into these tools and make them extremely unique to me and my situation and the purpose and vision that I'm trying to fulfill on behalf of myself and behalf of others. Two, you can now monetize well beyond your book or your products and services. I now have created programs and tools that I'm getting buy-in from universities, from municipalities, from the corporate side of things, and in the most unique and incredible way, I'm even bringing them all together and forming a complete ecosystem. Okay, and then of course, out of all, you're able to start to reclaim your time. So I'll give you a prime example for that. So every month I do about 7 hours of original training inside of my community every single month, which means I have to come up with a series of topics every month that I haven't done before. And typically it would take me about 10 to 20 hours to do the research, to create the content, to build the decks out, to plan everything, to get everybody on the same page. I can now do about 95% of that in about 15 minutes based on one of my tools. And I call this tool my internal management system. So we're going to actually take a look at that in a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to present to you today two pathways. There are four in all, but specifically for today, I'm going to give you two pathways. Pathway one is you convert your original website into a custom vibe coded website. And I'm going to tell you why that is so important in a few minutes. The second one is what I call the IMS, the internal management system. This is where you now start to figure out what are the bottlenecks in my business? What are the things that can be easily automated that take me so much time that it's still necessary to do, but I don't want to do it. And two, I don't want to pay someone else to do it because either one, I don't have the resources to do it, or two, it's just something that I don't want to trust to someone else to do. And we have a lot of entrepreneurs and solopreneurs that may fall into that category. So we're going to look at pathway one and we're going to look at pathway two. So pathway one is about converting your website into a vibe coded platform to allow you to build things that you never knew you could build before, like calculators, diagnostic quizzes, interactive chapters of your book. You can personalize the delivery based on the reader's output. So there's a huge component of AI that you can integrate into this platform. And then you have brand and lead control. How do you make sure that the site is fully SEO optimized, that it is ADA compliant, that it's mobile friendly? And so we're going to look at my first app here. And this one here is, all my sites were originally built on WordPress. I'm a WordPress guy. I have since moved every single one of my sites off of WordPress into my Base 44 account. So let's take a look and let's go over here. So just to kind of give you an idea, this is my Base 44 account. And as you can see, I have a lot of apps in this platform that are either fully live, they have paying customers on it, or they're meant for internal use. And I even have ones that we're building for clients. So we have really embraced the vibe coding strategy. So this is the website. So number one, when I moved it over from WordPress, it was a prompt that allowed me to do that. If I had to do that manually, it would have taken me weeks. I was able to do that in a matter of probably 30 minutes to move a complete site over, because one of the cool things about Base 44, if we come up here, if you happen to be on any of the platforms they will allow you to do, you can click on here and you can actually migrate from another platform, including WordPress, Salesforce, HubSpot, Shopify, Lovable, and Bolt. If you like what we're going to do today. The big thing here is not the front end, it's the back end. So this is the front end of it. I have 2 books I'm writing, but they're not finished yet. And I didn't have, this website hadn't been updated for probably 6 years. So it was massively outdated. The copy was old. I didn't even do half the services anymore. When we move into vibe coding, a number of things we can do. Immediately, I can go over here and I can upload things. So I'm going to go into the actual vibe coding side. So on the platform, Base 44, this is where I actually vibe code. So I talk to it. I'll go, hey, I don't like the color red anymore. Please go through the entire website and change it to blue. I hit that button, and within probably 30 seconds, this entire website no longer has red. It's all blue. I can go, oh, I just got a third book. I can go, because again, you're talking to it. I'll go, I have a third book and and I want to make it available for pre-order. And then I'll come over here. Let me move this up a little bit. Let me do it this way. Move this up a little bit. I hit the plus sign, and then I can actually upload like the manuscript. I can upload sales copy, and I'll go now create a third column, and here's the artwork, and do all the work for me, and it will build it for me. I no longer have to build it. And then I can look at it and go, I don't like it. You know what I want to do? I want to make this a single column. So typically what I'll do is I'll take a screenshot when I want to make updates. I'll take a screenshot of the entire page. And of course, it's not allowing me to do that. I'm gonna have to refresh the page, but I'll take a screenshot, circle what I want to do, paste it back in here and go, you see where I circled it? Make this blue and make this green. And it just makes those changes like that. So I'm no longer waiting for a developer. I'm no longer waiting for my web designer. And then let's go to the back end. So now the back end is where it really happens. So in the back end, I built the back end. So I pulled in my Google Analytics and Google Search Console. I want to build a community. So I had it build out a community structure so I can pull in early readers, beta reviews, ambassadors, launch team in general. And then I can either add it manually or I can build a front end that says whenever someone comes into here, depending on how they answer the questions, route them to early reader or to beta reviewer or to ambassador. I built out my entire book marketing backend. So I can see my subscribers here. I can build out full campaigns here, tasks. I can build out press outreach. I can build out community. All this I decided to build. And now the other cool thing is you can build this page and go, look, I want a full marketing backend for my books. Here's what I'm thinking. So sometimes I'll do all my pre-thinking so I don't eat up my credits inside of Gemini. Gemini is my tool of choice when my LLM of choice. So I'll do all my pre-work in Gemini and go, hey, I'm about to work on my base 44 account. Here's the URL. I want to build a complete marketing suite that I want base 44 to build. I want you to, here's what I'm thinking. I want you to tell me what I'm missing. And then I'll flush the entire idea out. And then I'll copy that, go back over to here and go, okay, I want to build a marketing backend system. And here are my thoughts. And then I'll either upload it because I made it a document, or I'll just paste it directly in. I put it into discussion mode. When you're in discussion modes, it costs you less credit. So until you're fully aware, you're fully clear on what you want to actually do, you put it in discussion mode so you don't blow through your credits. You hash it out. As you can see, I'm talking to it all the time. You know, I just tried this site on my mobile phone. It was not good. The hamburger menu didn't work. And then it checks it and it fixes it. And I'll tell it, do not tell me you're finished until you test it first. So you learn these little tricks to make sure that it doesn't tell you it's fixed and then it's not fixed and you're continuing to burn through credits. And so this is one of the key ways that I'm able to get things done. So I'm building on at any given time 3 to 4 apps at a time, because it could be 2 of mine, 1 for a client and 1 for a partner. Okay. And I can come up here to the community. I can go down here. We're going to talk about AI governance a bit, because if your tool is using AI, you do want to have some AI governance. You want to have some legal documentation on the front end of your platform to make sure that you're fully protected as you're building out your app. So that's what when these vibe coding platforms tell you, hey, if you use vibe coding and you use Lovable or you use Base 44, you can have an app up and running in 5 minutes. That's technically true, but it is so far from the truth, because there's so much that you have to do in order to make an app viable enough for people to want to use it, to make sure that they feel comfortable that it's secure enough for them to use it. And also, at the moment you decide you want to start accepting payment, it needs to be good enough that they want to pay you for it and continue to pay you for it and not determine that this tool is not worth its weight of gold. Okay. So I'm going to come back over here. Does anybody have any questions for me before I move into the next demo I want to show you? Feel free to unmute yourself or raise your hand. If not, I'm going to keep rocking. All right. So I'm going to keep going. This is by far my favorite, the internal management system, because most of us may not necessarily be ready for a website build because they like the website. They might not be ready to build an external platform with people to pay them for, but every single person has issues or has bottlenecks in their business. So what you can do is figure out, well, what are those bottlenecks? What are those things that I'm having trouble with on a regular basis that I think can be automated? And so you want to be able to streamline operations, maybe editorial pipelines or reader intake. And again, this is very specific to an author, but this doesn't mean you can't be a plumber or a marketing consultant or even a caterer doing this. So, automate admin complexity, eliminate manual data copying between spreadsheets, email lists, and forms, custom author workflows, again, or centralized intelligence. So I'll go back over here for a second before we go into our next tool. If we go into dashboard, because that's the back end, this is where the magic happens. Let's say you're using QuickBooks and you're using HubSpot and you're using any of the Gmail suites. Well, there's a full integration here where you can pull all that data directly into your tool through integrations. And so this just shows you an example of what those integrations can be. So we can integrate with everything from Intercom, Stripe, Google Photos, Gmail, Calendar. I'm just going to scroll it here and you just look at all the integrations. Now imagine you can now build a tool that allows LinkedIn and Notion and TikTok and Slack to all be integrated into your tool. And then you formulate how do these pieces interact with each other. And then I'm going to put AI on top of that to analyze that data to make the next level, to make the next steps truly available to me as a business owner. And so that's what I did with our next tool, which is our internal management tool. And so I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm going to go over here. So now I'm going to go to our Moving Forward Small Business site. This is 3 platforms in one. If you're familiar with the platform Circle, which is a membership community, our community used to be on Circle. Our website was on WordPress. And so I built this specific platform. Sorry, I keep having to do that. My mouse keeps disappearing here. So I'm going to go into the back end. So I'm going to give you a breakdown. So this member area we built custom is replaced Circle, which saved me $6,000 a year immediately. The second one is this website. This is now, I rebuilt in my own eyes the WordPress backend, but simpler. So now I have all my WordPress. I have my pages, my blog posts, my events, my media. And then here, the rest of the backend is how I manage my community and create content. So here's my framework. So I mentioned that I have to create all this content. So I built what we call the framework builder. I said I want to build something that makes my life easier, but it still has to think like me. So I taught it how to build frameworks as if I was doing that 10 hours of work. And what you end up doing is, I don't know why my mouse keeps disappearing. Give me a second. I can come up here and I can go, I want to do a topic next month on, I'm going to say, give me a topic on how SMBs can better see pitfalls in their small business. So I'm just picking that up. And if I had some additional notes, I could add that here. I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to say, generate a title for me. So I'm sorry, new framework. Let me do that again. New framework. Generate a framework where I to help SMBs see the pitfalls in their business. And I say generate. So I'm going to generate this. And it's going to generate a topic. So it says the SMB Growth Shield, a diagnostic framework for operational resilience. It categorized it in one of my 10 categories. And then I'll say I want this to be September 2026. It's in draft mode. And then I read my short description and long description. This is where I keep myself in the loop at all time. I go, okay, I like that. So let me generate the action plan that comes out at the beginning of the month. And again, I uploaded in the chat all my source documents that taught it. This is what I consider a good plan. This is what I consider a bad plan. So I had to build in the methodology into this. So then it built out this. So if I like that, I can refine it. If everything looks good, then I can actually generate the topics for the live call, the 5 days of training, and the coffee and convos call. So all of that would take me hours. I'm now doing that in minutes. And again, this is not generic copy because I taught it to research the way I research. So when I look at it, it's pretty solid to what I want. And then if I like that, then I come down here to the generator because I use a tool called Gamma that helps me create the decks. And then I'll create the deck for each day. And now that all I got to do then is make slight adjustments to that and then paste that into Gamma. I got my decks. And then I even have a community outreach generator. So after I've done all that work, so now this is one tab. Now I got tabs to create checklists. I got tabs to generate a catalog. I can build pillar pages. And here's where it gets really exciting. So now I got right now about 50 frameworks. So now you go, okay, that's great. So I wired it. So now I can come over here to monthly framework. And I can push anything to the front of my website for free so people can experience it. I can also set it to preview for my members inside. And then I can come over here I built the book outline generator. So now I can pull any of these frameworks because since I own it, I'm like, what else can I do with the same data? Now I can come in here and go, oh, my 2025 Master Speaking for Authority Builder. I can immediately build that out into a manuscript for a book because that's 7 hours of my voice already recorded because I've already uploaded the transcripts, aligned the transcripts with the videos. And now you see how this ecosystem starts to feed off of each other. And then when people come in to my community, I come down here, they have to take a test to figure out what frameworks they do. So at any point, I wired it so it can always look at my frameworks and go, what frameworks did he cover that could answer a problem for any of my users? And so this is where that internal management system has been tremendous for me to build out, to take general stuff that I'm already doing and just rewire it and then determine what else can I do. I pulled my Brevo in, so now I can email from the platform. I can build out landing pages in seconds now. And I either do it through the chat or I built the system inside of my platform so I don't have to use my chat credits. And this is where, again, you start becoming very strategic with the entire platform to go, some things I can probably do, but I have to build it inside of my platform so we can do things like project updates. I have a system in here where I can look at any of my frameworks and go, is this currently outdated? And if it is, give me suggestions on how I can update it because I did this training a few months ago, or I did this training 2 years ago. I know it's outdated. Tell me what to update, and then let's go back in and update that and keep that content as fresh as possible. So these are all my mini brainchilds built into a single system. Okay, now I'm building cohorts. So I have multiple cohorts running through this platform now. And it's all because I said, let me figure out how to do it. When I come up with a concept or idea, I don't know how I'm going to do it. So I put this always in discussion mode. And then I go, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Should I do this in this platform? Because the other side of being able to build whatever you want is you can go overboard with it. And I'll say, give me your honest opinion. Does this belong in this tool, or should I just leave it outside? And sometimes they'll say, you know what, it doesn't really fit with what you built with this tool. I suggest you leave it out. And then I'll follow that because I don't want to overwhelm my users. But my users don't see all of these tabs. They only see what they're signed up for. I see all these tabs because this is how I manage the day-to-day operations for moving forward small business across 3 different modes: membership, website, and back-end systems that I know I have to do on a regular basis. So this is why we call it the internal management system. Now, I've been building on the back end of this for about 9 months now. So this is 9 months of work. I didn't do all this on day one. Day one, it was a very simple and modest platform. And as I started building and looking and seeing what more bottlenecks was, I said, could I add this also to my platform, which is how you end up with a pretty robust back-end system. This system here alone allows me to not have to do the content, and I can even now pass off some of the stuff that I thought was only doable through my mind. I can now pass this off to third parties and go, get my next 6 months of content ready. Here's my top level topics. Just get it all ready for me to review, and then get it all scheduled. And I no longer have to do that heavy lifting that, again, I thought only I could do. So one more tool I'll show you. This is a tool I've been playing with lately, specifically for authors. And again, you can build this. If you're working with other authors, I just said, hey, I want a platform. And I built this tool specifically to show you. I don't think I'll ever make this tool live. It's not live. But I said, I want a tool that could help manage other authors. So I chatted with it, and we ended up with this. This is not a real company, Storyloft. It says your entire author career in one beautiful place. If I go on the dashboard, it helped build out the dashboard, the books, the writing, the publishing aspect, how I manage the publishing, how I manage submissions, how I manage marketing, campaign, ARC reader, content calendar, how I can manage the analytics, the team. I got the community section with the forum, the readers group, and the comments. So again, you can build pretty much anything. You just have to determine, what am I trying to achieve? AI is not going to give you the ideas. You have to determine what you're trying to achieve, and then AI helps you bring that to life. So I'm going to pause for a second. Do I have questions or thoughts? Again, I've shown you quite a bit here to show you that the capabilities are tremendous, and it's well beyond just building a simple calculator. Wow, you guys are so quiet. All right, Peter.
Okay. Jimmy, this looks awesome. However, this is way above my pay grade.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering, rather than having us try to build something like this, are you offering these apps out for a sum of money, or how's this working?
Yeah. So at the end of the call, I'm going to give you those the ability that want to learn how to build better. We're going to do a 5-day sprint starting on August 31st. You can join the 5-day sprint. You could hire me to build it for you. My team can build an app for you, and I'll go over that at the end.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, yeah, because some of you may go, I love it, but I'm not doing that. And that's absolutely doable. The goal here is, regardless of whoever builds it for you, you own it 100%. It is your IP. It brings the value of your entire organization up because it's built on, there's this term right now called AI slop, if anybody's heard of it. And AI slop, yeah, AI slop, that's the term. And it's because everybody's doing AI everything.
Yeah.
The problem with what they're really saying is it's generic slop. It's generic content. If you're not giving it context when you're using AI, it is slop, because AI is pulling from the same pool of content that is pulling for everybody.
Right.
The difference in these platforms is I'm going, here's my methodology for this. Here's my insight for that. Here's how I do this. Here, I don't like these words. I like this. And then it remembers it because you're building a internal structure. So these tools are 100% built just for me, not for anyone else, making it my IP. Some tools I will make public. So we have public tools. We have 3 tools right now that are doing very well publicly, and they solve a specific need in the industry. So the goal here for today is really to show you the big picture. And then I'm going to give you a starting point, and that actually brings us to our next slide. Our next slide is, well, how do I figure out how to start with this? Everything starts with the problem you're trying to solve. And I'm going to introduce you to something called the Moscow method. And that's not Russia. That's just for some reason what they called it. And Moscow stands for must-haves, should-haves, could-haves, and won't-haves. So what must it have in order to be a viable app? What should it have to make it a little bit more valuable to whoever you're building it for? What could it have to make it really outstanding? And what won't it have because it's not needed right now to get to what we call an MVP, a minimum viable product? So let's say you've got an idea and you go, you know what I really want to build is I have to make, and I'm gonna just make something up. I got to do 50 phone calls a day. And the problem is I got to get all of the resources together to even make those 50 calls. That takes me more time than making the 50 calls. So that's my problem. So then you go to your favorite LLM, ChatGPT and Gemini, and go, look, I'm looking to build an app to solve this one problem. I want you to do a Moscow method for that one problem. Your LLM already knows what the Moscow method is. So let's even do that. So let's go over here. Let's go to Gemini, and I'm going to say, hey, I want to build an app that helps me source 50 new lead prospects per day so I can then begin my outreach. I don't know where to start, so I want you to use the Moscow method to help me get my first MVP. MVP. Okay. And I'm going to say, also think about what I might be missing. And that's a key thing. So now, with just that prompt alone, it's going to tell me what must it have in order to be viable. And it's going to say, what should it have? And I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do with that next. So now it's scoping, it's figuring everything out for you. And so again, this is as simple as it can be. Let me let this person in. Okay. So now it gave me my must-haves, an ICP filter configuration. ICP stands for ideal customer profile. A data sourcing API. So it's going where you're going to pull the data from. Can you pull it? You can pull it from Apollo API, data labs. So it's giving you ideas of where you could probably pull that. You could even use LinkedIn to a degree. It says strict email verification. It says daily capping and local deduplication and CSV exporting. So and it's saying, so that's what it must have to be functional. And then it says, here's some things it should have to make it even better. And it's saying, here's some things it could have to make it even better. And here's things that it won't have because this is a level 2. This is a level 3 process. And now it's giving me some critical blind spots, domain reputation risk, API cost trap, suppression list. So these are all valid. So now you have and now you can continue to chat with it. And you can go, okay, I like that. I do think that this one should be in the must-haves, and I don't really need the basic scoring to be in the must-haves. So you're having a conversation. This might take you 15, 20 minutes, maybe even an hour. You're going back and forth with the tool. And then once you're done, you'll go, okay, great. Do that again. I'll say, okay, great. Here's what we do next. I'm going to build this MVP on base 44. I want you to create from our discussion an initial build build prompt that I can give base 44. So now you're going to have it wrap everything up into a bow for you. And you're going to go, and I should have said, and only give me the must-haves for now, so it doesn't go overboard. So I'll reframe it from there. So now it's wrapping it all up because it's going to go, hey, do you want me to build it? And you're like, no, I do not want you to build it. I just wanted you to help me flush out the idea. Okay. So it built it out. So now you're looking at that and you go, okay, I like it. Now, another thing I like to do is I'll say, let me just refresh it. Let's make sure that we only include the must-haves and the should-haves. Also, break the prompt into methodology. The methodology says why we're doing it. Methodology and the features, the things that I want to be included, which are the must-haves and could-haves, and the features from the must-haves and should-haves. And now it's going to give me that final piece. And then I'll either turn it into a Word doc. And typically what I'll do from here, and again, I don't use ChatGPT, so I don't know the equivalent of that, but I'm assuming it should be somewhat similar. So now it's figuring all that out. And then what I'll do is I'll come over here and then I'll export it as a doc. And then I'll download that doc. And then I come back into base 44 and then I upload the doc. And then I'll say, here is the initial MVP build for my latest project. And then that document will be uploaded and then I hit the build and now it starts your initial build. And usually that takes a little bit of time. That could take about 15 minutes. It could take 30 minutes. But after it's done, then it's usually seconds when you're now starting to clean it up. And that's how you get started. So even though I showed you very grand tools, I showed you that to show you the true depth of what we can create. But you start small. You just want to solve a single problem. So you've got a book. What are you struggling with the most with the book? It's marketing the book. Oh, it's it's managing. I'm making a lot of sales, but it's hard to keep up with it. Well, build a back-end system to help you manage the sale of the book. Solve a single problem, and then you'll start to add things because as you're using your own tool, you'll go, you know what else I should probably add to it? And that's when it turns from a single tool to a beast that is just really dialed in for the true needs. And now you can build out user seats. Let me add other people on this platform so they can now have access to the same platform as I do. Okay. So I hope that made sense, Peter. Okay, good. All right. So let's get back in because I got a few more things and I see I'm eating up a lot of time. Let's talk about security and compliance. You want to make sure, again, if you're starting to leverage AI or the people using the platform are using AI, you want to be able to think about AI governance, access control. As you start to add people, you may not want everybody to have the same access that you have. And then, of course, ADA compliance, because, we have to always think about the disabled community and this tool will allow you to easily do that. And at least I don't know about the other tools, but on base 44, we can easily run system audits to make sure that our tool is always 100% secure, which can be a very difficult thing in itself. Let's talk about ADA compliance for a second. I once got hired to help a company ADA make their website ADA compliant. Very tedious work, and I think we ended up charging them about 10 grand because of the size of their website. I can now make my website ADA compliant just by going, hey, I just built 2 new pages. Please review them and make sure they are ADA compliant and mobile friendly. And hit the enter, and it does all that work for me like that. And this is where, again, it just gets massively easy. I'm now able to manage more websites with 1/10 of the time. This is one reason why I moved my websites over, because on WordPress, I'd have to schedule time. And then I got to go in and figure out, all right, I need to build it. And then what is it going to look like? I got to lay out a design framework. Here, I can just go copy this other page, upload the raw copy, and go, you figure it out. And I'll tell you what's wrong after I see the page. And that's how I'm moving at the speed of light. Okay. So when we're thinking about security and AI governance, here are the 8 pages that should be on your website in the legal section, but this should be on any website that you have, regardless of if it's base 44, vibe coded, or traditional website on WordPress, Shopify, Wix, Squarespace. You need to make sure you have a privacy policy. You need to have a terms of service page. You need to have a cookies policy. This is more of a European thing, but it's good to practice that if you're a US-based business, because it shows that you care a lot more about the data being used on behalf of your users. Accessibility statement. How accessible is your website? Securities and trust. And how well is your website for encryption and infrastructure protection? A disclaimer, especially if you're claiming that you can help people do specific things. You want a disclaimer page. You want an AI uses policy, and you want an EULA, an end user licensing agreement. Now, these pages start to play a key component. So right now, 2 of our tools we connected to QuickBooks because they're finance-based tools. And so when I was going through, getting the QuickBooks integration approved by QuickBooks, they're like, also send us your privacy policy and your end user license agreement public pages. And if I don't have them, it doesn't get approved. So it's not just to look good and feel good. When you start to integrate with really great third-party platforms like QuickBooks and like HubSpot, they're going to want to see these pages on your website. You can't even run Google Ads without a privacy policy page. So I asked yourself, how many of these pages are you actually missing on your current website? And the cool thing about vibe coding, you can tell vibe coding, I need an AI usage policy, review my entire app, and then make the most appropriate AI usage policy page you can create. This is the other beautiful thing about leveraging vibe coding, because I don't know to some degree what everything my tool can do, but my tool knows everything my tool can do. So then I'll tell it, and then this is what I end up with. So if I scroll down here to my legal section and look at my AI usage policy, it helped me create that. And then and I just I read through it. You always want to have a lawyer look at these things, but I'll read through it and I go, yep, this looks great, perfect. And it got this. And I'll go, and I'll ask it, how am I using AI? Please make sure that you do your due diligence to make sure that this page is as accurate as possible before I have to bring my lawyer in, and so I can save myself some money. And I want the lawyer to be like, wow, this is really good. Just make these 2 changes. Thank you. Goodbye. Out of my life. And stop taking all my money. So these are some cool things that you can do. And again, this is why, again, I moved it. Like I would say, oh, I'll get back to that later. I no longer have to say that. I'll just go to my chat and go, I had the discussion today with these 3 people, and they suggested I do this, this, and this. Where's the validity and all of that? So I'm, again, having a conversation. I'm talking back and forth. And I'm like, does this make sense? Does this not? Not that I'm taking it. At the end of the day, I know what I know, but I'm using it to make sure that we're both in agreement and it makes sense for the app or the platform that I'm building. Okay. So by no means is any of this easy. It's just an opportunity now. So I think I started vibe coding on full time in December. So I've only been vibe coding since December. It is now August. So it's not even a full year, but I'm regular with it. And again, you can see, based on what I'm showing you here, that we built some incredible things. I'll show you one last platform that we built just to show you the true potential here. And what I'd love to see, if anyone has a book, drop in the overall, let me try and think. Is it finance? Is it marketing? Is it human resources? Is it retirement? Drop in the theme of your book, and I'll try to, when we do the Q&A, I'll try to give you some ideas of what you could build around that, taking into consideration who your target audience is. Okay. I'm going to show you one more tool, and this one's a big one. Here it is, Victali, which at the time wasn't our biggest tool, but it is now considered our biggest tool. And Victali is a platform, all right, let me see how I mentioned it. My target audience, which is small business owners, and entrepreneurs and side hustlers, struggle with one thing: bookkeeping and taxes. I built it not for them. I built it for me because I hate that. And I built it and it was a different tool when I started it, but now it turned into the financial operating system for solopreneurs and small teams. So I'm going to show you the true potential of you build it for one thing and other doors start to open. So when they sign up for this tool, of course, it's only for LLCs, single and multi-member, no C corps, no S corps. So we chose a lane. Okay. And we did everything from the security. We made sure that it had enterprise level subscription, but we built a program around it called Financial Marathon Day. This is the program we're now partnering with nonprofits, government organizations, and corporate 500 enterprises to fund this program to help us get more small businesses caught up on their bookkeeping, never fall back on their bookkeeping. And now we've got a program that we're negotiating across universities, again, municipalities, and they're bringing the sponsors to us. And our little tool, Victali, sits in the middle of all of this. And so if you go in the back end, I'm hoping I'm on the demo account. This tool processes a lot of data. This is $1.5 million in revenue for a client. We manage the back end. So all this is completely built based on, as we're talking to our partners and they're going, you know what would be important for our small businesses when it comes to finance, A, B, C, and D. I immediately go home and open up my tool and go, can we add that? Will this change the directory of the tool? And if it does, then we won't add it. But it'll go, yeah, that's actually a perfect fit for your tool. And then we go into planning mode. I'll go, so how would we do it? And it goes, well, it'll give me like 3 options. And I'll go, I like option A, but I do like option B. Can we do a combination of the both? And it's like, yeah. And I'm going, how would you do it? And it explains it to me. And so it is a conversation, a partnership, if you will, between you and the platform. And then you go back and you show the partner and they're like, this is amazing. This is exactly what we were hoping it would be. And now you're going, yeah, because you told me it and I went home and I made it happen, but you can't do that with someone else's tool, but you can do it with yours if it makes sense for that partnership to flourish. So this shows you the bigger picture of what is actually possible. So now that brings me to the end here. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a 5-day vibe coding sprint starting on August 31st to the 4th. It's $6.99, but if you join before Friday the 21st, it's $4.99. And everything I showed you, I'm going to help you in a group setting build your MVP, your minimum viable product. And I showed you kind of how we're doing that. We're going to do that every day as a group. And so if this makes sense for you, you can do that. You're going to want to have a base 44 account. We're recommending the $50 plan because with the $50 plan, you can then add your own domain. Anything below that, they have a free plan that you can use to play around with, which I would suggest you do. And then they have a $16 plan, $60 a month plan if you do the yearly, or $20 if you do monthly. But you're going to want, if you want, you can still use Lovable. If you're already using it, you can use your own platform. I'm just going to work with you all every day to build out that system. Okay. So day 1, we do the idea blueprint. Day 2, we do the base 44 foundation or your version of the foundation, depending on your platform. Day 3, we do logic and agents. Day 4, we do testing and compliance. And then day 5, we talk about launch strategies. Do you already have a community that you could push this out to? If not, well, how do you build a community to bring them in? If you have a book, I'm assuming you already have some sort of a community. what you're building should align with your book so people want to get involved. I shared a story with a colleague of mine this morning. Some of the features in my tool was based on a book that I learned from someone. They wrote a section, they made part of that section interactive. I internalized it, and now years later, I'm using that to help me with my business. So when you think about your book, you're going, there's methodologies in your book. There's things that people are going to gravitate to. What can you build around it? So if you're helping people with their retirement plan, well, you can have the retirement app that supports the book, but the retirement app is paid because it has some features to help that retirement person really take advantage of the market today. You're taking advantage of the technology to provide them with this platform that allows them to do what they need to do and bring your book to life. That becomes one of the key things that we're looking at here. So on the replay page that I shared with you earlier, and I'll drop it back in the chat when I pull my deck down. Let me just get to that page. All right, I'll have to pull the page up here in a second. Oh, there it is. So here, this is the replay page. It's going to have this video on it, but if you scroll down, there is the 5-day vibe coding sprint. And so you can join there if you want to, but everything is on this page. I'm going to, at this point, I'm pretty much done. So I hope this gave you some ideas of possibilities with vibe coding. I apologize that I hit you with so much stuff. My bad. That's just the way it is sometimes. But I hope that you're inspired to think about what is truly possible. And now don't look at my apps as, well, this is what I can do. Look at my apps as, look at what he did. I wonder what I can do. Okay. So that becomes the key difference. So let me pull this down. Stop sharing. All right. And Jack, if you want to jump in. So let's have a bit of a conversation. Now I'm here to chat. What are your thoughts? Somebody tell me what their book is about, if you have a book.
Yeah, everyone as well, feel free to unmute your mics. Ask Jimmy your questions now, and he's obviously very knowledgeable. So please take this time to pick his brain, okay, guys?
And don't be shy. Well, you can be, but still talk to me. All right, Rosalind, go ahead.
Hello, Jimmy. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to figure out how you go from this entirely abstract concept to actual people who respond to you and increase your audience.
Okay. All right. Do you have an audience yet?
I have an audience, but it's relatively small.
Okay.
Because I have a different kind of book. I wrote in the chat, I have a thriller.
Yep.
It is fiction. Therefore, my needs are different, but I do have a business. It's called Graveyard Press. And it's the publisher of my book. And so I wonder how I can apply these ideas, which are quite good, using AI to increase my audience.
Absolutely. And again, this is where you go back to AI as your brainstorming partner. You just described a scenario. And then, so for me, the key would be, what's the end result? If the result is to grow the audience, it's either going to be around the book or around the company. Pick a lane and then go based on that, talk to it and go, look, I love to build an accompanying app for this particular book. Here's the premise. It's fiction. It's this. I'm a big sci-fi horror zombie guy. You talk about any of these things, you got my attention. So now you'll say to it, I have, unfortunately, it's weird. I have zombie needs. I need zombie stuff as much as possible. And so it might go, well, what you can do is create an app around, I'm just making this up, but it'll say create an app around the 7 types of zombies. What type of zombie are you? And again, that's really basic or simple. But what type of horror fan are you? And you can even bring people in to bring in like authors and become the controller of the conversation. Again, when I go to my Gemini platform or your ChatGPT, I'll ask for 3 or 4 options. Give me 3 or 4 out the box options to build something around this community that I could turn into an app. Don't do all that heavy lifting yourself. Let the tool brainstorm with you and figure out what that looks like. And now you then have to use your own knowledge and understanding to go, I like number 3. Let me flush that out a little bit more. I flushed out a thing and then decided halfway through flushing out, that's not the right one. And that's okay. It's the moment you start building, you need to make sure that you're clear on why you're doing that. So don't do the heavy lifting to try to figure out, just describe your scenario to your tool and then let it offer you suggestions. One of my favorite ways to use a tool is to say, I have no clue what I'm about to do. So I need you to analyze these 6 points and give me a starting point.
For increasing my audience or creating
my audience.
It's never occurred to me to do that. Because AI, in my community, I will tell you, AI is a dirty word.
Absolutely.
We don't use AI to write our books. However, there's no rule that says you shouldn't use AI to increase your audience. And this is what I'm trying to get from you.
And that becomes the thing that most people consider AI content writing. And AI is way more than content writing. AI is predictive analytics. AI is customer service. AI is all of these other things that, is data management. Whenever you're talking to your AI, it's really just data management. It's the question is, what are you asking it to do? And what sources are you giving it to analyze to give you back an answer, whether it's in numeric format or it's in text format, or if it's a graphic image or a video. You're just going, here's what I need to figure out. Here's the resources. And again, bad data in, bad data out. So if you keep it generic, it's going to give you generic stuff. So when you say, I don't know what I want, but you do know what the key players are in the ask, that's when it makes it more personal to you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Who's up? Who's next? Come on. I like this. Oh, man, y'all so quiet. All right, go ahead, Peter. You're muted, sir. You unmuted.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Again, to my earlier point, I don't feel that comfortable in building the actual app.
Yep.
But I would be interested in possibly purchasing, whether it be subscription or otherwise, an app that you built specifically for authors, or one that you built even customized for a particular person.
Yep. So I would say the best thing to do, and for anybody here, my email is jimmy@movingforwardsmallbusiness.com. Reach out to me directly. I'll put it in the chat.
Okay. That's good. Because, I mean, even the couple of examples that you showed, I thought they were really good apps in terms of the information that as authors we probably aren't getting. For example, I have a website right now. I have almost 300 sold books, but I couldn't tell you where those sales are coming from. I don't have a clue. I don't have emails. I have absolutely nothing. So if I go back, and try to get them to purchase something else, it
doesn't exist.
Way of doing it.
Yep. Exactly. And this is And this is where, we can definitely build something like that goes, and if we have historical data, we can actually pre-populate that in to get a bigger picture of what it is, and then go, how do we not fall back on this type of data anymore? And again, that becomes that conversation. Now, if you worked with me directly, that's the conversation we'd have to go, all right, again, we've identified a problem. Now from here, and that's a great problem. You've got 300 people that bought your book. If you have any data on them, that's always a great starting point. And if you don't, then we figure out the next step. We should be always connecting with them on social media moving forward. So we developed a plan moving forward based on what we know about the path to go, all right, the moment they do this, this needs to happen, this needs to happen, and this needs to happen. And typically that's going to be 2 or 3 platforms. But if you have your own, then it can literally be integrated into that single platform.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, email me and we can chat about it.
Okay. It's awesome stuff.
Thank you. And this is the beauty of this entire process is it's totally unique to everyone. I've had people say, I don't really think I need this. And then they call me up 2 months later and go, this is the best thing I've ever done. Right now you're being introduced to this. So it might as well be a different language. The good news is it's for anybody here. If you speak more than one language, that platform itself is in a lot of languages, but it's that first step. Looking at what Rosalind said about, AI is a dirty word. You're seeing a lot of that across the internet. And it's again, because people are not fully understanding the true potential of leveraging AI. The big problem right now is AI in schools, but I won't, schools are fearing letting kids use AI, but I won't hire someone if they have no AI experience. So it's a catch-22 because I understand the true value of leveraging their time more for high-level strategic stuff versus doing manual data entry, which nobody wants to do. Nothing again is I still do it every now and then, but at the end of the day, we want to work smarter, not harder.
Right. Particularly as an independent author, okay, you're busy writing books. And then there's, of course, the whole other aspect to it, which is the marketing and selling. And that's almost a full-time job, if not more.
Oh, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. And again, this is where AI is not writing your book, but it's helping you build your internal management systems. It's helping you build your operations.
Right.
It's helping you, where you'd have to wait for someone to build a landing page, you could upload the marketing copy and go build this page and put it here. And here are the 3 graphics. I don't have a 4th graphic. Create one for me. And now then you look at it and you're like, wow, this is great. And it took me all of 15 seconds. What typically takes the time is the thought process, is the planning. But what I say is the good thing about that is because of AI, you're working with a way better first version of everything. It's almost in completion mode. It just now needs you to look at it and go, yeah, I like it, or no, you don't mention this. I've uploaded stuff, mention things. I'll go, no, don't mention this, but do mention this. This is too big, that's there. But it's easier to fix something than to start something.
Got it.
So you can tell I've been doing this for a minute. So any other questions? What you got for me, Theodora? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? And so we met 3 years ago in DC at the DC Startup, and they call it DC Startup and Tech Week now. So hopefully I'll see you this year as well. So I'm a lawyer, and I do IP law is what I do. Not so much anymore. After 42 years, I've shifted my focus. I've started a nonprofit where I'm teaching students about entrepreneurship who are studying STEM and arts. Yep. And so that's the shift that I've made. And so a couple of things. I'm still getting inquiries from folk about, hey, I need a publisher. I need an editor. I'm writing this book. I need an editor and I need a publisher. And so and then this one person quoted me $10,000 that somebody wanted to charge them to just edit and publish their book. And so this sounds like a much easier process and much more cost efficient process. And so I want to be able to connect them with you directly. And so you did provide your email address. So I'll follow up with you regarding that. But as a nonprofit, though, with very limited funding, and a need for all of these systems, so that we can, be competitive and make sure that our infrastructure is strong, because we're working with middle schoolers and high schoolers. And teaching them everything about, this process. They're smarter than me in terms of the tech piece, but in terms of the infrastructure piece, that's what I bring to the fold here. And so I'm in the process now of reviewing my website. Started on WordPress, and I'm thinking this is too much work for me to go through each of these links that we set in there initially and clean them up. But that's where I am right now. So I'm just sort of throwing that out there and sort of want you to tell me what my next step should be, because I'm thinking that, based on, and I don't know how I reconnected with you on this link. I don't know, and so I'm glad that I did. Didn't know what to expect today, but it's really right in my lap today in terms of updating my website, and so just want to hear your thoughts about that.
Yeah, and again, I moved my sites from WordPress, and I consider myself a WordPress expert.
Okay.
But I couldn't manage all the sites, and my Jimmy Newsom consulting site suffered the most because I just never had the time for it. I put my attention towards other sites and once I moved it over, it's now updated. So I guess the big question for the websites is, I'm just trying to figure out the best way to kind of, at the end of the day, you can keep it there for now and figure out, is there a bigger problem, or go, the website is the thing that I want to focus on. Do you want to move it over to a platform like Base 44? Then I would say do the 5 days, because the point of that 5 days is there's a lot to cover, and I can't do it in a single day. And that way you can either do that, or again, we can have a conversation about us doing that for you. But part of what we want to do is, even if we did it for you, is teach you how to use it. So we built for clients, and then we go, here's the main things you need to know. This is the chat box. This is how you make sure things don't break. And if something breaks, then you can call us. But in most cases, it should be fine. You can do low-level stuff, and you can even upload things to add new pages and not have to be a coder or a web developer to build them out. So I think it's more of a conversation that we could have to figure out what your true need is.
Sure, because I wear 20 hats as this nonprofit founder, right? I wear 20 hats, and I don't want to wear 20 hats anymore. And because I'm doing the IT, I'm doing the fundraising, I'm doing financial management, and not to mention the programmatic stuff that really is the core of the nonprofit. And so it's just me, finding a much more efficient way to manage all these systems without me having to be in that space. And this is not my expertise. Again, I'm a lawyer. I mean, IP is my area of concentration, contracts, small businesses, nonprofits. And so I've never been a website developer. I know how to negotiate the contracts, but certainly not to build the systems. And so I'm looking for ways to be more efficient and hand that off to the real experts here without me having to wear that hat.
Absolutely. Now, I understand we have to end in about 3 minutes. So I apologize, but I just want to show you, like here, like this is the Moving Forward Small Business site. So we're hiring. So I built an intern space, a VA space, an employee space. So and then I started to assign them to different parts of the app. And again, things you couldn't do on someone else's platform. So when you're thinking about, you're wearing 20 hats, you're building for the future. You're building to go, well, here are the 8 things that are always the most important things that I have to deal with. How much of that can I so you got the website. So as you build out the website, then you add on to it. It's like buying a house that's a 1-story house. And then you just slowly start to add a room and add a second floor and dig out a basement, because you still have that foundation. Now you're just building onto it. So the next thing you know, you got this big house when everybody else on the same block has a single story, and they're like, how does that work? Right. So these are some key things that you'll be able to do. I got them: posts, SOPs, videos, resources. So again, anything is possible. It's just about understanding your unique position and what it is that you want to really try to solve. And that becomes the driving force behind what you're going to build, which then also allows you to be more passionate about seeing it through. Okay. All right, Jack, it's back on you, buddy.
All right. Wow. Well, can't thank Jimmy enough. As you guys can all see, Jimmy has a lot to talk about and a lot to offer. He builds the frameworks, gives you repeatable systems. He runs the training programs. Make sure to go check out that 5-day sprint. He's going to get into the nitty gritty, really expand your knowledge. This isn't stuff that was taught in theory. This is what he does for a living. This is a real business, and he's here to help you out. Everyone who joined us, if you missed any part of it, no worries. In the next couple of days, we're going to be sending out the recording straight to your inbox. So you'll be able to rewatch the session. If you missed anything, you can go back and see what you can get out of this session once more. If you guys do like sessions like this, make sure to check out our website, Printed Word Reviews /courses. This is where you can find some more courses, just like Jimmy, where you can get a little bit of free education. Of course, as well, check out our boot camp event. That is our event. It's just like this, but a lot more than one speaker. We have about 25 speakers, just like Jimmy, where you guys can connect with them and really expand your knowledge on a whole different number of things. If it's writing, marketing, publicity, whatever it may be, we try to offer somebody for that. I'm going to put into the chat just a minute here my email and my HubSpot if anybody would ever like to contact me, see what we could do to help you guys out. We love our authors. We'd love to help you guys. And Jimmy, thank you so much again. We loved having you guys. Make sure to pick his brain. All right. Thank you guys.
Got it. Take care, everyone.